All right, you guys ready for this? All right, guys, let's watch the Final Fantasy XIV documentary part 1. It's by No Clip. It's a very popular documentary that a lot of people have been recommending me, and I'm very, very, very excited to be watching this documentary because I'm very interested in the rich history of Final Fantasy XIV, including the thing that led up to it being so good, right? Like the takeover of Yoshi P and what he did, which I'm very excited about. I'm going to be watching part 1 today. There's 3 parts from my understanding. Part 1 today. I'll be watching part 2 tomorrow, and then part 3 on Thursday. So I'm going to be watching it daily until it's completed. I think that's a good format to go about this. So you guys ready? I'm ready. Let's watch this. So enable subtitles. Oh, yeah. It's teaching me how to... I mean, I know how to put on subtitles, but this is good. English, Japanese speakers, full closed captions. Oh, wow. They have options for Japanese speakers only, or just full blown out full caption. I'm going to do full blown closed captions because I know a lot of people in chat like that. I personally like it too, to be honest. Cool. Let's do it. Just in time to discover a new awesome streamer, play FF14, watch the No Clip doc. Thank you, Ramen King. I appreciate it.
Square is buried deep into the culture of Japan. Originally a spin-off from Masafumi Miyamoto's father's Powerline construction firm, for over 30 years its games have helped power the rise of Japanese games development. There are no shortage of games that live under the Square Enix banner, but none as big as Final Fantasy.
This has to be one of the most recognizable tunes of all time. At least in the gaming space. I don't know if it's this one or the Mario one. I think it's very, like, Mario, Final Fantasy. There's a bunch of other ones too. But I think probably one of the most, if not the most recognizable theme in gaming history. Next to Mario, I want to say.
From our Western perspective, there's an air of mythos around the company. The accepted truth behind the series' title is that it was named Final Fantasy as it was Square's make-or-break game to avoid impending bankruptcy.
I did know that.
And even if the real answer has more to do with creating an acronym that could be pronounced by both Eastern and Western audiences, it's that first story that gets told. That's the legacy of this series. Stories about adventures that get passed from generation to generation, as nearby as the arcades of Akihabara and as far as the playgrounds of Europe. As the Final Fantasy series has moved from numeral to numeral, there have been high points and low, but with each new game comes the promise of a new story, a new myth. The story of what happened with Final Fantasy XIV is one such myth. What we know about it.
I played FF4. I love Final Fantasy IV. That's probably my favorite one. I played After Years. Yes, I played After Years. I played the first hour of 6. I played Final Fantasy VII. I played like the first hour of 9. I have not played 10. I played 15 and I played 16. That's it. Only the first hour of 6. Yeah, I was just trying it out, but I didn't finish it like at all.
It comes from old reviews, archived message board threads, and through conversations with those who were there. The reason for this is that the original version of Final Fantasy XIV doesn't exist anymore. Unlike the vast majority of other old games, there is no way of playing it. It was redacted, painted over. Where once stood a game that threatened to sink the Final Fantasy brand forever, now stands the second most popular subscription MMO in the world. And as the years pass us, the myth of that original version and its incredible redemption story are at risk of disappearing. How did it all happen? How did the same studio that shipped a broken mess turn it all around in 2 years? Why did they make the decision to keep the old version still alive while secretly working on a brand new game? And how did they manage to make all of this?
Oh, now this is the first. Nice. High five, guys. Psh.
The redesign and rebirth part of the game's lore. We knew this was a story worth telling, not only for those who were there to see it all go down.
Wait, was that actually 1.0 right there?
But for the millions of you who have never heard about this, who never knew the extraordinary lengths of development.
That's so cool, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of like on the camp of maybe they can do a thing where they bring back 1.0, but make it good. I don't know, man. I know that Yoshi P feels indifferently about it, but I don't know, bro. I think that'd be so sick.
Team went to save this game. So we did just that. Pack your bags, friends. NoClip is heading to Tokyo.
Yeah, I know that it was bad, but I'm saying like they can make it good. I know that was so bad, but there's a lot of things that contributed to it. I'm saying like you could put in new quests, you can put in brand new, they just like revert back to it for like an expansion or I don't know. I'm kind of on the camp of let's live back before ARR for like a little bit, right? They already did make it good as a legacy player. No, never mind. No, okay, fine. All right, sounds good. I don't know. It's kind of cool to live out the days of with Louis Suarez and stuff like that, and live out the days of the moon crashing down. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I'll see him explain it, I imagine.
Remember 1.0 event in fall, you can boom out then with us lol.
Remember 1.0 event in fall, you can oh, really? Is that a thing? All right. I guess I'm late to the party, and of course, I'm only through ARR, so it probably gets more complicated to be able to do that the more you get into the expansions and stuff. So, anyways. That's so cool, bro. I still watch the animation, the intro, the cinematic. It's so cool. What is happening? Oh, it's just the intro. It's just the intro. Yeah, no, I still see this. It's intro and cinematic. It's so sick, and they only get better too. They only get better. Minor spelling error.
Hello and welcome to Shinjuku, Tokyo, home of Godzilla, restaurants full of dancing robots, and Square Enix, one of the most prolific video game companies in the world.
For the past few months, I've been playing catch-up with this story, playing the latest version of the game, talking to players, and watching community retrospective series like the Speakers Network's fantastic Fall and Rise of Final Fantasy XIV. My goal, to make sure we asked the right questions when we sat down with the team during our time here.
Dude,
in Shinjuku.
I want to go to Japan so bad.
To everyone from the engineers who worked on the original game,
be so
to
happy.
Localization leads, community managers, and even the CEO of the company, all to allow them the opportunity to tell their side of this fascinating story.
That's awesome.
The Fall and Rise of Final Fantasy XIV happened in real time in front of millions of people around the world. But we wanted to know about this story from an entirely new perspective, from inside the corporate machine that made it happen, that led to its terrible launch and ultimately its incredible rebirth.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I can't wait.
My
This
name
is
is
so awesome.
Michael Christopher Koji Fonks. I am the English localization lead for Final Fantasy XIV. And my middle name being Koji, it's not something I gave myself. It's a.
This is the guy responsible for all the crazy innuendos and all the different references and Easter eggs. This is the guy. Oh man. That's crazy, dude. I don't know if I should be saying this, but at this screenshot, he kind of looks like Asmongold if he shaved his beard and gained weight. Kind of looks like him a little bit.
A name my father gave me. My father was stationed in Japan for 2 years in the Navy when he was young. Went back to the States. My mom had me. They wanted to give me a Japanese name. The family was having none of that, so they kind of snuck it in the middle name. But then they always called me Koji. And
That's
I guess
so cool.
You know, the joke was on the rest of the family. You know, my dad being in the Navy didn't really learn a lot about Japan, other than he really liked Japan, but didn't learn any of the language. So
Oh, wow.
I always knew that my name
This
was
is cool. I
Japanese,
love seeing the
but beyond
backstories.
that, I really didn't know anything about Japan, but there was always that little seed in there. And then when I got
Fun
into
fact,
high
anytime
school,
my Masamune FC would catch something punny with a quest in Fxiv, we would scream to the sky Koji Fox.
Koji Fox. Koji Fox. Koji Fox. That's cool.
there's a Japanese class and I like games. Oh, they make games in Japan. Hey, let me study Japanese. If I study Japanese, I can play all those cool Japanese games that never come out over in America. And it kind of just snowballed from there.
Happens.
When
Happens
I
a lot.
graduated from high school, I took a trip to Japan for 3 weeks, homestay type of thing, and I fell in love with it. And during that period, I got to visit a lot of schools. And a lot of English classes in those schools. And I thought, wow, I could probably do, I know English, I could do this, this will be easy. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, but I studied a couple years at a university in America, then transferred over to Japan.
That's usually how people do it.
At a university in Japan.
Wow.
Got my teaching license and
That's
yeah,
usually how
hard
people
work.
do it. They get their teaching license,
Yes,
they come
I mean,
over
I
to
loved
Japan
it,
to
but
teach
I mean,
English.
it was very draining, and
Yeah.
that's why pretty much after you'd go to school 6 in the morning for morning basketball practice, because I was the basketball coach, because as my principal said, hey, you're tall, you're the basketball coach. Then you'd get into classes. I mean, I'd have my homeroom class, then I'd have 6 or 7
They love tall people
other
over there for
classes,
some reason.
teaching. Then
They're
you'd
like,
have after school, all of
oh,
a sudden it's, there's
okay,
after school
just
basketball,
now.
and then you'd get home and you'd correct. So I was really, always at school every day. It was very draining, and I would go home and I would play FF11. It was how I was able to relax.
Oh, he
and
played it
being able
11.
to go into my little room.
I've
and turn
never
off the
seen
lights
11.
and put on
I've
my
seen no
headphones
gameplay.
and, get into that world of Vana'diel
Whoa.
was something that helped me escape from the stress. And then it just happened to be, one day I was online, checking for 11 related information, and I saw that Square Enix was hiring, looking for a translator, and it just kind of,
Oh.
wow, that would be really cool.
And the rest is history.
Koji wasn't alone. Final Fantasy XIV was launched in 2010, but the story of this game starts 8 years earlier with the launch of Final Fantasy XI, Square's
really?
first MMO, the early days of online. Many of the team who worked on 14 started on 11.
One of those
Oh,
was
okay.
Kasuga-san, who joined the company in 1999 to build a network infrastructure for this fledgling MMO.
Ah, I guess that's the
自分は
biggest thing
ネット
for
ワ
an
ークと
MMO.
サーバー担当で入っていて、なので一番最初にやっていたのが、当時プレイステーション2で初めて、厳密にはドリームキャストがその前にあるんですけれど、
Wait a minute. Did they do it was FF11 for consoles? Well, I need to get my water bottle. Give me a second. Okay, sorry. I also have to get chapstick. All right, so it was for PS2 and they made a 360 version? They made a 360 version, huh? Dreamcast for fully. It was for the Dreamcast, PS2. Oh my god! I tried to play 11 without a controller. It made my brain melt. So it was primarily a controller game. Oh, no Dreamcast. It wasn't for the Dreamcast. Oh, my bad. They're saying that they kind of took the Dreamcast as like, oh, well, PS2 is making their network infrastructure. Okay, cool. Sorry. I'll keep watching.
プレイステーションプラットフォームとしてはオンライン要素が入った初めての時期だったので、 プレイステーション2でネットワークを作るため
Ethernet
に
cable there.
TCP/IP のドライバーを作ったりとか
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
まだ当時モデム通信の時代だったんでPPP 通信とかあと ADSL がちょうど普及し始めた時期だったんで、ADSL の認証として使われた PPP とかっていうその本当にネットワークの
I wonder how much that would have cost back in
今
the
だ
day.
とあんまし誰も書かないようなところを書くっていう担当で入社してました。
11に関して言うとね、スクエアエニックスって言いますか、スクエアが初めて
The CEO, that's the man!
MMORPG 日本でやるってのはもう本当初めてだった。
Wow.
いや
What an honor.
正直いろんなことがありましたよ当時ね。こんな言っちゃっていいのかな。言っちゃっていいの？
Yes,
Okay,
say more. They have a freaking person say, don't say much.
どういうことだったかというと、あの時はMMO とかね。
Oh, he's not the CEO anymore? I imagine. Okay, this was made 6 years ago, so okay, that makes sense. He's the ex-CEO. Okay, gotcha.
海外だとウルティマとかそういった先行事例あるんで、基本的に PC ですよね。で俺らが今週末でやるなんてもう無謀の極みだとかってね、もうたくさんそういうふうに言われました。
Yeah, what a Herculean task.
PS2 のハードディスク BB キットなんかもですね、もう何台出すんだとかそういうのを吸ったもんだしていろんなことありましたんで、ほとんど不可能だとかでよく言われてましたよ、実際には。成功なんて。
11 was my first MMO. I hadn't played one before. I remember purchasing the PlayStation 2 broadband unit because they were all sold out. I ended up paying double on like some Yahoo auction or something like that.
Damn!
Ridiculous, but I had to play it. We got a new internet connection. We were on a regular modem at that time, but because we needed a new modem, we had to upgrade to ISDN 128.
I don't know any
but
of
yeah,
this.
It was definitely
Any of these
worth
terms.
It was something that was completely new
I'm a
to me,
late
but
bloomer with the internet.
fascinating. And ever since then, I've been into MMOs. That was the gateway drug for me. Going in from FF11 and then trying some of the Western MMOs as well. Getting into World of Warcraft, seeing the differences between the two.
Dude, so I just want to tell you this quick story too. So I was originally going to be a WoW Andy. Okay, I had a friend that did two things for me. Okay. Sir, were you Amish? No, I was a Disney Channel kid. So I had a friend that did two things for me. One, my friend installed Project 64 for me on my old computer back when I first moved over to the USA from Puerto Rico. I had a computer that I would play NBA like 2002, NBA Live 2002 or something like that. That's the only thing I could really run. My friend came over and installed this thing called Project 64, which was a Nintendo 64 emulator, and that's how I learned about emulation. And I'm like, whoa, I could play Legend of Zelda here? And he just uploaded a bunch of ROMs and stuff, and that's how I played most of my Nintendo games back in the day. When it comes to WoW, he also was into WoW, so he tried to install the WoW on my computer so I could play with him, and I could play just to play in general. So he had the disc. There was like a green box with like an orc on it or something. Took out the disc and started to install it and stuff, and I could not install it because my computer did not have the right equipment to be able to install World of Warcraft. And at that point, I never played WoW. But if my computer had the right specs on it, I could have actually been a WoW player. I dodged the bullet. But the thing is, I did not know at the time that I had to pay monthly to be able to play their service. That's another thing too. I don't know if that was the case back in the day, but I think those two things, I think, prevented me from being a WoW player back in the day. And I would have been a completely different person, I'm pretty sure, if I played WoW back in the day. So I just stuck to Project 64 and played my Nintendo games. So yeah. Yeah.
Personally, I think it's very different, here in Japan from the Western market because, yeah, it is for everyone in the globe. It's very first MMORPG on the console, PlayStation 2. And also, it was the first ever
FF11
cross-platform MMO
between
PlayStation
old.
2 and the Xbox 360. The obvious one is most Japanese people don't very like to chat in public.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, in the world, there's a lot of characters, but it's very quiet because people are using a tell instead of the say or shout. And then, but if you go to
That's
the
me.
Western world, game world, I mean, every single one is shouting around it. So yeah, that's a huge difference.
You know, while
I'm actually curious. Who here played FF11? Press 1 if you played FF11. Press 2 if you have not. I'm pressing 2. So a lot of you guys did play. Of course, there's a lot of people that haven't because FF11 probably wasn't, I don't know, maybe it was really popular back in the day because it was an MMO. But some of the there's a lot of you that have played it. So there's a lot of like Final Fantasy Andes that have been around since 11, huh? Wow, dude.
in the West, you know, you have your EverQuests and you
Wait a minute, can you? Now I'm thinking about it. Can you even play 11? Can you? Because I'm thinking like, if someone were to play Final Fantasy 1 to 16, it's still going? It's still up? What? Because I was wondering, because I imagine most MMOs, after a while, they like stop operation.
FF11 is in itself a really interesting topic. My fav thing FF11 gave FF14 is auto-translated callouts so people from across the world can communicate in raids.
Huh. It's still alive. Because I was thinking, like, most games, when they move on to the next one, the previous one dies. Coming from the fighting game community, that's how it works. So I thought maybe something similar. So I'm just thinking to myself, well, how do people play FF11 to experience that story? But it's still going. They had an expansion in 2020. Wow. Wow. That's wow. I did not know that. FF11 sweaties are like Counter-Strike sweaties. I gotcha.
you had your Ultima Onlines.
Wow.
In Japan, there was none of that. And then, so Final Fantasy XI was really one of the first MMOs in Japan. And so getting to work with basically the pioneers of the Japanese MMO
Wow.
was really exciting. On the other
Back in
hand,
2002
I mean,
or
you could
3,
also
huh?
say that it was possibly kind of a curse in the sense that they were all, you know, doing their own thing. They had their vision of what an MMO should be and what a Japanese MMO should be. And then me, again, not having played an MMO before, getting on this team and thinking, okay, this is an MMO, and translating away and working in that project, I kind of, you know, started thinking, okay, this is what an MMO is, this is what an MMO is. And then that one
Pretty
day
big
I
task.
start playing WoW, and it's like, oh, oh. Seeing the differences between the two and saying like, okay, what I thought was the norm in Final Fantasy XI, you know, the grinding for 20 hours to go up one level and then only to have your level drop when you know, pull too many crabs and it kills you and you've lost 5 hours work. Like, I thought that was normal. And then you're like, well, that's not normal, is it? The Japanese
I know what that
game,
feels
Final
like
Fantasy
now.
XI had already released. And
I
they were
died like
working on
yesterday
the first
doing that.
expansion pack, Rise of the Zalart. I was part of the team that was working to get the base game and Rise of Zalart all translated before the Japanese Rise of Zalart was finished, so we could all release at the same time.
Right.
Did you get it on
Worldwide
time?
releases.
It was on time. I haven't missed a deadline yet. That's one thing I'm proud of.
Final
Let's go!
Fantasy XI
Good, I
was
love
a
that.
huge success for Square Enix. It established a concurrent user base of around 250,000 players for years. It was the most profitable Final Fantasy game ever, and at one stage was the 6th most popular game on all of Xbox Live.
Wow.
More than that, it established the Japanese style of MMO. And when the decision was made in 2005 to start work on a sequel, the new MMO was built around things that made 11 successful, focusing, like most Final Fantasy games do, on beautiful graphics
Is it
and
14?
an interesting battle system. This new
Yeah.
game was to be directed and produced by the same duo that shipped 11, series veteran Hiromichi Tanaka and Nobuaki Komodo.
Okay.
Final Fantasy XIV was announced for Windows and PlayStation 3 in 2009, but behind
Okay.
the scenes the development team was struggling to put the pieces of its new world together.
Oh boy.
まあ、ファイナルファンタジー14のその最初のバージョンの、まあ、自分が見た時の一番大きな問題点、まあ、最終的にそれが問題だったと考えているものっていうのはその最初のコンセプトとしてそのプランナーがスクリプトを書くことによってゲームを作っていこうで、まあ、利点としては、まあ、プランナーが考えて自分たちで実装するんで、高速な開発ができる。要はそうじゃないと基本的にはプランナーさんはものを考えて開発者にエンジニアに相談してどう実装するかを決めてで、まあ、ゲームデザインをする人はそのどういうパラメータをいじりたいかとかを相談しながらエンジニアと話をしてものを作っていかなきゃいけないんですけれども、まあ、そこの部分に関してスクリプトを導入すると自分で考えて自分で実現することができるようになるっていう発想でゲーム実装の大半がスクリプトで組まれてたんですね。で、そのスクリプト UI の問題もそうなんですけれどもゲームの UI の基本的にはスクリプトで書かれていてでスクリプトを動かすエンジン側がかなり負荷が高いというか CPU をたくさん使わないと動かない状態になっているんで、まあ、ちょっとした何かをするだけでもゲーム内で少し何かをするだけでも非常に CPU リソースを使うことになっていて、まあ、すぐにサーバーが回るサイクルが遅くなっていくっていうことが問題として発生していました。で結果としてそのサーバーでできることは少ない、あとゲームとしてサーバーで実現できることは少ないですし、何かしようとすると
slideshow PowerPoints
じゃあそれを回避するためにどうしよう
PowerPoint
とかっていう
Fantasy
ことで
14
結果的にそのゲーム内容としてリッチなものが実現できなくなっているっていうことが起きてましたね。で UI もスクリプトで組まれていたので、まあ、なんかちょっと処理するだけでもすごい時間がかかるっていうような問題が発生していました。
Like I mentioned before, again, localization being in a position where we get to see all the parts come together first. We were some of the first to realize that, Houston, we have a problem, that type of situation. I mean, you had the battle team. They're like, yes, we have this great battle system, with stamina and these things that you can do. And then you had the story team. Like, yes, we have this story. Oh, hey, we have these guild leads and all of these.
Oh my God, that's so different now. Look at the main menu. Look at the stuff on the bottom left, like the chat. Oh, there's the freaking, like, where are the skills and stuff? Like, I don't even see them. Is there like, look at that. There's the magic points, the HP.
Parts, and everyone was really, really proud of their part.
Well, like the chat looks, I mean, obviously the thing's the same, but it looks different. It's way bigger.
It's, look at this grass, it's so beautiful. Look at this barrel, it's the most beautiful barrel ever to be, represented in graphical form.
It's got as many polygons as the character.
Yes, and all of those parts, all of these teams, again, very, very proud of their work. I mean, the team was, put together with some of the best minds in Square Enix. You had people that were, leads that could probably even, lead their own projects. Were all.
Look at the map. The map. My goodness, dude.
Come together and
so much
it
different.
Became a lot of just tiny little groups making something that was really great. But once you put it together, it was kind of a mess. And no one really knew that, except for localization and probably QA as well. And we were like, okay, we need to do something. But by then it was one of those, it's kind of too late to do anything.
Oof.
But for us, we would be looking at the text.
Dude, look at this, man. This is crazy to see.
And some of it, it wouldn't make sense, or it would just be very bland. And thinking, if there's any way to make this game better, what can we do? It's like, well, I can take this text and maybe add some more stuff into it, add some more flavor to it, and maybe that will distract people.
As a localizer, you can't really do much, I imagine. As a localizer, you get to see everything kind of come together, and just like if it's a train wreck, you just have to watch the train wreck. Especially if you are working in like a Japanese company. You have to wait for the train wreck to happen.
That the battle is not that fun.
At a fundamental level,
it's cool that he was involved from the very beginning, though.
Problems. Graphics were inconsistent. While many elements of the world were copy and pasted ad nauseum, some environmental objects had as many polygons and shaders as a character model. The battle system was just confusing. The game didn't have elements fundamental to most modern MMOs, things like jumping, auto-attack, and the ability to interact with the map using a mouse. It had a system that nerfed hardcore players to make sure they didn't level up too fast.
Oh god, that sounds awful. Wait a minute. So you had to stop completely to be able to have access to the map?
Interact with the map using a mouse.
Because you have to use your mouse.
Oh
my
nerfed
God.
hardcore players to make sure they didn't level up too fast. The UI was confusing, crafting was incredibly complex and took forever, and simply there just wasn't enough content. The closed beta wasn't going well. They needed more time to fix these problems.
This was a PC game. That doesn't support KBM for the map. PC game. It was bad.
Yeah, and you want to play this? I don't want to play this. I want to play the world, how it was back in the day, but have all of the good stuff from modern day Final Fantasy XIV be incorporated into back in the day. You know what I mean? Like the quests, the story. That's what I mean. I don't actually want to play this game. I want to actually play other things, you know? But yeah.
The open beta was pushed back to within a month before launch. The team knew there were problems, and they were getting frustrated.
まあ今まで話していた仕事っていうのは大体その2010年の1月から、まあ、実際にリリースされる 8月ぐらいまでの間にやっていたことで、
Yeah, I know about the nightmares thing.
まあ、ゲームが本当に良くないっていうのがこう、まあ、みんなに認識されて自覚されていくっていうのは結局ベータが始まって製品版が始まってっていう、まあ8月9月10月ぐらいまでの期間に起きたことなんですね。で、実際にはこうチーム内の意識としてもリリース前、そのベータが始まる前から本当にこれをリリースしていいものかどうかっていう議論はある程度そのチーム全体でオフィシャルであったわけではないですけれども、開発者の中ではやはりその世に出していいクオリティかどうかっていうところは議論がありました。
When 1.0 was getting made, was the mentality that, oh, we're not like, that's like their thing and we have our very own successful thing over here, we're going to just make another one of those?
Right, and that's really what it felt like, is that we're going to continue doing what we did because it succeeded before.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That mentality is huge. It's the same thing with fighting games, actually. As a person who's played fighting games, dude, the amount of stress that we had every time a new fighting game released without rollback netcode was immense. And it wasn't until we were making a huge big deal where they finally were like, all right, we have to include rollback netcode. So and even Nintendo with Smash still has this capability. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. People are still playing, people still play online, so it's not broken or whatever, right? It's not like a thing where they're prioritizing. When in fact, in fighting games, you should prioritize rollback netcode. If you don't know what rollback netcode is, it's basically the superior version of playing a fighting game online. And back in the day, nobody had that. That's a newer thing. Actually, not necessarily newer, but it's like a newer concept to developers, especially for Japanese ones, for like Arc System, for Nintendo, for any one of those, okay? And it wasn't until now where they finally were like, all right, we're implementing rollback netcode. So Guilty Gear Strive's doing it, BlazBlue did it, a whole bunch of people did it. So I get this for sure. Let's see here. What does it do? So the netcode infrastructure, okay, there's a bunch of videos on it. I'm not going to explain it right now, but just know that it's basically makes online fighting games playable. That's all you need to know about it.
Why wouldn't it succeed again? And seeing that direction, them taking that direction, and knowing that, having worked on 11, that yes, they were very successful, seeing the success that they had with Final Fantasy XI, seeing these great creators, creating something that was, revolutionary.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, knowing that what they were doing was, but maybe that might not.
Yo, Moni, thanks so much for the 25 inches. Tier 3, what's up, amigo? Thank you so much, man.
Worked 6 or 7 years ago, but a lot of things have changed since then. And I think there was even one guy on the localization team.
Things change.
That got to that point where he just got so frustrated that he just wrote this scathing mail and sent it out to the whole team.
Oh,
before
God.
telling anyone else on localization he was going to write it. And then we all get it at the same time, the devs team. We're reading, it's like, wow, this is really terrible. I hope he doesn't. Oh, he sent it to the whole team.
Oh, damn.
He just got really frustrated because to him, they were being very stubborn. They weren't, they hadn't moved on, whereas the rest of the world had moved on and adapted, with the release of WoW and what they had done. Whereas, the team here was like, no, we're going to stick with what we know, and that's good enough.
Then start feeling more concerning the situation.
Bad decision.
Is it not fixed? Not fixed? Not fixed? Oh, then.
Wow, look at that. There was wow. So there was a point allotment system where you can increase. Is it with level ups? Interesting. Wow. So it was so different. Oh my God, I can't even imagine now. Yeah.
Oh, you announced the launch date, but it's not fixed. So, but still.
That's what it looked like, huh? For 14, you had just a normal guy. That looks awful, by the way. That looks terrible. That looks terrible.
Is my property.
Hey, Terra Mac, thanks so much for the Prime, amigo. I really appreciate the generosity. Enjoy the emotes. We got lots of them. Thank you for the Prime. Yeah, this looks awful. Oh my God. This cover art looks terrible. This box right here looks great. But for the actual game, that looks awful. Oh my God.
Some major portion of people are still
that looks terrible.
Still believing, no, it's better, still better. Last phase, but still better. So it could be, fixed or changed at the launch timing.
Yeah.
Kind of went from thinking, okay, this project's going to be great, to, there might be some problems. Can we fix them? Can we fix them? Okay, we can't fix them. Is there anything we can do? I don't know.
Yep, it's bad.
It was a very taxing experience.
I bet.
The team crossed their fingers and hoped that the game's beta problems were simply that, the same issues that most MMOs have, ones that could be fixed with patches once the game entered live operations.
The classic.
So Final Fantasy
XIV
Online launched on September 30th, 2010. It sold well its first week, and after a month had over 600,000 players swarming into its world. But it didn't take long for the cracks to appear. The problems in the beta were echoed by new players. The game was sluggish, the servers crashed, and Eorzeans quickly ran out of things to do. Quests were limited, and the fatigue system even made grinding for XP next to impossible. Critics ate it alive too.
Let's get...
Hold on. So, what did they give it? Story 5.7. Presentation 6.9. Nice. Gameplay 3.9. Design 3.2. A total?
Critics ate it alive too.
Let's get right down to it. Woo! Unless you've got the patience of Job or some kind of masochist, you shouldn't play Final Fantasy XIV. Woo! Its problems are so vast that I could spend hours talking about them. The awful interface, the recycled content, the stringent limits on questing, the useless maps, the stupid market ward, these issues and dozens more constantly have you asking back.
You used to be able to allot points in ARR, but that changed when Scholar came out. It and Summoner were both promoted from Arcanist, but Summoner wanted intelligence for magic damage, while Scholar wanted mind for better healing.
Ah, okay. So when Scholar came out, when did Scholar come out? Was that Heaven's Word? Was Scholar Heaven's Word? Oh. Scholar and Rogue were added during ARR patches. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Age-old question, what were they thinking?
So, what was it like seeing public reaction?
Yeah, it was very, very disheartening. Because you'd want to look at those and you'd want to say, no, they don't understand. They don't know, what's going on here, or
That's the typical dev reaction, by the way.
You know they were right. And that was what kind of, that dagger in your heart and it's twisting, because, you want to defend what you worked on. I mean, the people that I worked with are the greatest people. I still, work with a lot of them. I had worked with them before in FF11. I consider them not only coworkers, but friends.
Nice.
But, and then you see people online, bashing the work they did, and I know how hard they worked. I know how many hours they put in. I know that, like, in the last 3 or 4 months, people were basically living at work, all putting their 100%
That's still
into
happening.
this game that was, destined to kind of crash and burn. And then to have people online just say, oh, that sucks, this person is a piece of shit, and their work is terrible.
Damn.
It hurts, but it hurts more because if I was not here and was a user and had played that game, I probably would have said the same thing.
Yep.
そうですね。
Can't know.
まあ当時はね、私
Oh, here we go.
やってたんで見てたんですけれども、ローンチのタイミングやっぱ一番大きく違ったのは11の時のいろいろごたごたねと9の14の時のごたごた一番違うっていうのは。11の時はいろいろごたごたあったけどゲームに関して言うとさすがに相当やっぱり相当程度やっぱり受け入れファン相当のやっぱり評価されたんですよね。で、まあオペレーション上のねトラブルとかっていろいろ多分あるっていうまあこれはある程度つきものでまあ大変だったんですけれどもそれはあったんですけどゲーム内容に関して言うと非常にまあ評価されたというふうに理解してますけれども前作の場合の一番やっぱ私はちょっとまずいなこれって思ったのはやっぱりゲーム自体の評価が非常に厳しいものだったということですね。これはちょっとやっぱり
like the game is not
これは大丈夫
good.
かなというのをまあローンチした後ね。
So at the very least, like, so he's saying like 11 was actually pretty decent, even though it has problems. There's still a lot of potential. It's pretty good. But with 14, everyone's just like this game just blows hard. No hope. This game was so bad. It was bad. So it's very different from when 11 came out. Okay.
リアルに感じましたね。それはそうですね。まあローンチしてまあしばらく経ってまあそんなに長い期間じゃなかったですね。そうしばらくなんでやっぱり相当なこのままで大丈夫なのかっていう社内でも相当やっぱ議論ありましたからね。
I mean, the first few months was just an endless stream of translating apology mails from producers and directors and finding out trying to figure out different ways of saying we're sorry because the more you say it the less weight it has. But
correct.
Japan being a country where people apologize a lot, that's part of the culture.
Oh, okay, that
but
makes
then
sense.
trying to translate that, it's like, okay, this is the 10th time I've said sorry in this one post.
Hell of an apology.
From the American myself, it's like, yeah, people are going to look at that as insincere. The more you apologize, the more insincere. And then trying to explain that to the team, it's like, no, we have to apologize. It's like, yes, you have to apologize, but and it just became we weren't talking about the game anymore. We were talking about how to translate apologies.
Yeah.
And it seemed like that lasted for a couple months.
This reminds me of No Man's Sky. It's like the complete opposite of No Man's Sky. Because we watched that Internet Historian video, and they did the exact opposite. They said sorry, like once, and they went dark. And then they came back, they said, bam, No Man's Sky is good again. It's like the opposite.
Actually, we see a huge drop. I mean, right after the launch timing, we got some good number of the subscribers. Then that fall. I mean, as you can imagine. So I mean, it was failure, and we announced a failure. So we see lots of decline.
さっきも話した通り、実際にはその開発内でも今リリースすべきかっていうかリリースできるクオリティにあるかっていうのはベータ直前とかベータが始まってもそうなんですけど常に疑問はあったので、
It's an alpha, not a beta.
実際にただそれまでにチーム内にあった空気はやはり出したら意外と受け入れられる可能性があるんじゃないかっていう漠然とした出せばどうにかなるのかも自分たちが思っているほど悪くないのかもっていう何の根拠もない希望的なものがあったんですよ。で出た結果結局そんな魔法は起きなくてやはり自分たちが感じている通りにまだ世に出すには早いというか世に出せるクオリティに達していない商品を出してしまったっていう気持ちはみんなにあったので実際に改善しなきゃっていうか根本的に対応しなきゃいけないっていうところはチーム内に割とすぐ広がったと思ってます。なので特にすごいそんなことはないっていう意見がすごく強くあって誰かを説得しなきゃいけないみたいなことは特になかったですね。
Some trouble.
Today, Square Enix is based across multiple floors in a modern office complex in Shinjuku, Tokyo. It's a company that is often designing multiple projects at once. And while Final Fantasy XIV was being developed, in another part of the building, a different game
God,
was
it'd be
being
so
made,
cool to visit that
produced by a
building, man.
Final Fantasy
Seriously.
fan. His name, Naoki Yoshida.
一番最初は、
Okay.
ファミリーコンピューター、US
The legend. The legend.
だとエンターテインメントシステムかのマリオブラザーズが一番最初にプレイしたゲームです。とにかくその
The legend.
テレビの中、テレビっていうのはその
The Final Fantasy Jesus Christ himself has come down to grace us with his presence.
見るものだと思っていた子供の時に。ところがそのマリオブラザーズで初めてそのコントローラーを握ってゲームをプレイした時にまずそもそもテレビのものを自分が自由に
Mr. John Fantasy himself. King Nothing, thank you so much for the tier 1. Enjoy the emotes. We got lots of them. Appreciate that, my friend. Dad? Shut up, dude. He even talks like he's like he even talks like he has a lot of confidence. He knows what he did. And I like it. The legend. He's a legend.
友達の家でプレイさせてもらったんだけど、ものすごい興奮したのを覚えてます。ドラゴンクエストっていう日本で RPG を大きく広めたタイトルを初めて触った時にアクションではないゲーム、数字のやり取りでこんなにまたさらにゲームは面白くなるんだっていうのを特にストーリーラインがあってっていうまた次のカルチャーショックを受けて RPG っていう。
He even looks like a Final Fantasy character. Look at him. He could be a Final Fantasy character right here, right now. Look at him. He looks like he came straight out of Final Fantasy 15 or something.
なんだろうフォーカスしていくことになったかなとは思います。当然その翌年に出たファイナルファンタジーにもその映画的なその演出ファンタジーをより強く打ち出したっていうところにもすごい衝撃を受けてたので、やっぱり僕の中でドラゴンクエストとファイナルファンタジーっていうのはすごい大きかったですね当時。
Nice.
Like most Japanese players at the time, Yoshida-san played all the early Final Fantasy games. He holds them in high regard, though he still holds the bitter memory of not being able to save before the last dungeon in Final Fantasy III. But when he was 11 years old, a brand new type of gaming experience arrived at home. His uncle gave him a PC. On this PC, the young gamer learned how to program BASIC. His first video game centered around trying to break into a bank vault. But this PC also exposed him to a spectrum of gaming that eluded most Japanese players. Western role-playing games. He fell in love with games like Diablo and was stunned when he first went online and played with other players.
I didn't know that. That's kind of sick, actually. I watched the documentary on Blizzard and some retrospectives on Diablo 1, and that also is a very interesting story. The story of Diablo and stuff.
Players.
でその翌年にウルティマオンラインをベータからプレイし、先輩にとにかくすげえゲームあるって言われて、ウルティマオンラインをベータから始めたのが初めて MMO をプレイした。
Ultima Online, huh?
でやっぱり同じようなその3回目の衝撃、3000人が同時に一つの世界で遊ぶっていうのがもうとてつもないまた衝撃でしたね。まあウルティマは本当に自由度のウルティマオンラインは特にとにかく初期は自由度がめちゃくちゃ高いゲームだったので、そのいわゆるロードの称号をつけたその、なんて言ったらいいんだろうな、すごく
No, I still Ultima Online. Okay, never mind. My bad. I don't know. I never played RuneScape.
紳士的なというかコミュニティリーダー的プレイをするキャラクターと完全に悪のプレイヤーキラーをやるキャラクターを2つ作ってどっちもものすごい遊んでたし、やっぱりその MMORPG っていうゲームがどう作られているのか、どういったエンジニアリングが必要なのかっていうのもものすごいそこで勉強させてもらったと思います。
Interesting.
もうその頃からはコンソール。
And Ultima Online is a Western MMO, right? I'm pretty sure that's why they're highlighting this, but Western
同じぐらいの比重で PC でゲームをかなり遊ぶようになってたので、自分で PC パーツ買ってきて組み立てたりしてたし、でやっぱりそのあたりで FPS もかなりプレイし始めてたし、特に 3DMMO の
Oblivion or EverQuest
その後プレイをし始めて、
I heard of EverQuest.
EverQuestのパッケージを日本で手に入れるのが本当に大変で、出張で東京に 来た時に秋葉原をね時間を作ってゾンビのように店をこううろうろしてエヴァクエストってゲームないですかエヴァクエストってないですかって。
Do you have yeah, that's funny. That's awesome.
Yoshida-san would embark on a career in
Ah,
games that
Dragon
would
Quest.
eventually see him joining Square Enix to work on the Dragon Quest series. Though he
I've only played 11. When it comes to Dragon Quest, I've only played 11. Oh, wait. And I played DQM for Nintendo DS back in the day.
wasn't working on the Final Fantasy team, he was part of the umbrella group that was allocating programmers to various projects. He didn't have granular visibility on FF14, but he knew the team was struggling. I asked from his perspective as a producer where he thought the game's problems were coming from.
Oh, let's see.
これ
This is
広報
cool.
にカットされるのかもしれないけど、クリスタルツールズって呼ばれるミドルウェアを全社で作ろうとしていたので、腕のいいプログラマーが全部そのチームに各なんだろうゲームラインから招集されて、そのメインプログラマーがみんないないっていう状態になってしまったので、どのプロジェクトもものすごい大変な時期だった。まあオリジナルの14がああなってしまった理由の一つでもあるかなとは思いますけど、さらに2つ大きな問題がそこに絡まっていて、スクエアエニックスその全体にプレイステーション2のジェネレーションで本当に世界一クオリティグラフィックスのクオリティが高い、そしてゲームエクスペリエンスがものすごく詰まったゲームっていうのをたくさんリリースしたので、本当にこう
Never played 10.
なんていうんだろう、ある意味自信過剰にもうなっていた時期で、自分たちが世界一だし、自分たちのグラフィックスこそが世界一。
They were sniffing their own farts. Their heads were too far up their booty hole. Damn. Get him, Yoshi P.
だし、その作り方はその自分たちにしかできない。だからなんだろう、でも超巨大な成功体験ってやっぱり足かせというかにもなる例だと思うんですけど、ものすごくおごってた、まあ悪い言い方をすればおごってた時期だったと思うんですね。まず例えると、その刀を作る刀匠のような職人たちが本当にたくさんいて、彼らが一つずつを手作りで作って世界一のクオリティを作り上げていたんだけど、実は世界は、まあ、特にその北米を中心にテクノロジーでそれをカバーするっていうところをずっと追求してきた時期で、プレイステーション3の世代になった瞬間にテクノロジーの方がそれを上回るっていう時期が来たせいで、作り方を
That same mentality. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But, you know, there's obviously different things that you can improve on, even though there's nothing wrong with them. Every time.
変えようとはしないし、だけどテクノロジーも追いつけないっていうことから、さらにそれを知ってるはずのプログラマーたちはミドルウェアの制作に行ってるっていう状態で、でもグラフィックス作ってるそのアーティストたちは自分たちの作り方こそが世界一だと思ってるので、古い作り方で引き続きものすごく負荷のかかるやり方でアセットを作ってたので、もうそれらが絡まってっていうのが、まあもう一つの大きな、さっき2つあるって言った問題の一つ目がそれですね。もう一つはプライドは。
So for the first problem, it kind of relays back to the whole thing with that Koji Fox was saying. We had a whole bunch of different really talented people coming from all sorts of different corners of the company and making these beautiful projects, but none of them were working together and kind of like make together. So individually they're beautiful in itself, like, you know, the barrel with the high polygon stuff and the grapes. Yeah. But it doesn't flow well with the rest of the game, so it can come together cohesively. So that's kind of what's happening. Interesting. I like that. Second thing.
いかなる時でもとても大切なものだとは思うんですけど、そこにやっぱり超巨大な成功体験をしたっていうこと自体が乗っかってきちゃうと、その自分たちの作るゲームこそがベストであって、他をあんまり見る必要がないっていう時期でもあったんじゃないかなと思っていて、例えば当時世界、多分 MMORPG を知ってる 人に
Yeah.
世界最大の MMORPG は
Wow.
何ですかって言ったら、100人に聞いたら100
Absolutely.
人がワールド・オブ・ウォークラフトって言ったはずなのに誰もプレイしてない。
Damn, that's
これは
no bueno.
オブ・ウォークラフトを知ってるか知ってないかっていう話だけの話をしてるんじゃなくて、その自分たちが世の中に対して新しいそのビデオゲームをリリースしようとするときにライバルになるタイトルは何だろうとか、
Yeah.
ユーザーは今プレイヤーはどこにそのゲームエクスペリエンスの最新の状態をプレイしてるんだろうっていうのを知らないっていうのがその感覚として僕には結構信じられない。なんでもっとみんなゲームプレイしないの？だって自分たちが今どのあたりにいるか分かんなくなっちゃうよっていうのがまあ。
Competition is one of the most important things out there because competition leads to innovation every time. Every time. It's healthy. Very healthy.
言いたい。で、特に14の場合に関しては、もちろんファイナルファンタジー11の超巨大な成功体験っていうのが邪魔をしたっていうのもあるとは思うんだけど、あの当時はエヴァークエストを徹底的にプレイをして、だからこそ11を作ったはずなのに、新しいレストランをオープンするときに隣にあるレストランがどんなメニューを出していてどんなサービスをしてるかを知らずにレストラン開店させる人はいないんじゃないって。
So just at the launch stage.
I'm paraphrasing a bit, but Bob Ross, yes the painter, had a similar kind of teaching. If someone's doing something better than you, find out what they're doing and then adapt it.
Actually, I'll piggyback off that statement. Sometimes
get back to work, you slacker.
You micromanaging me? Might have to report you to HR. Mental distress. That's right. Don't make me call the authorities. The higher ups. Anyways, what I'm saying is yeah, but let me get to this. So when it comes to the competition, someone's doing better than you, then if they find something they're doing and then adapt it. Actually, there's a lot of people that go to your establishment, let's say whatever establishment it is, whatever it be, a game, a restaurant, whatever, they find out what you're not doing and then do that themselves. Because sometimes people are looking for something different than what the normal person is doing. And they make a business out of that. And then in a healthy environment, they, as the person who got surveyed, will survey them in return. And then it goes back and forth. And that's how you create better products over time. Knowing your market and knowing what other people are doing is essential.
English is hard, okay?
I'm just saying. Genshin Impact and the Wuthering Waves is a really good example of this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
1.0. What was the feeling within Square Enix?
Oh, here we go.
The beta was quite close to launch. Were people anticipating that there would be negative feedback, or were they less aware that that was going to happen?
I think they knew.
他のチームにいてすごくベータの評判が悪いっていうのはネットでニュースは見てましたね。
Yep.
ただ多かれ少なかれ MMORPG のローンチは絶対にまあ荒れやすい。サーバーがすぐ落ちるとか。
True. No matter what, you're gonna get people complaining. Oh God, that looks so different. Can you zoom out in 1.0? Like, I feel like can you zoom out at all? Do you guys remember? So this was the camera angle. So it's not like now where you can zoom out real wide to see what's going on in your surroundings. The combat was pretty much from this perspective. It's a fixed camera. That's terrible. Holy crap.
文句を言って当然だと思いますし、だから僕もやっぱり11を作ったチームだから、
Yeah, it's bad.
まあそうは言っても11のやっぱり完成度が高いので、そこと比較をしてあの機能がないこの機能がないっていう話をしてるのかなっていうふうに思ってた。僕は僕自身の開発が忙しかったのもあって、ただそれも少しずつ収まっていくんだろうなっていうふうに僕は 当時は見てた。
Doesn't seem like he actually played it
ただ
himself.
別の角度、今度はそのオリジナルの14チームの中のその視点としては、このままだと本当にまずい。
He was just looking at reception and internal
声を上げる
turmoil.
人たちもいたけれど、会社ってまあ全体の判断としては、ファイナルファンタジー11のスタートもそうだったと。機能たくさんなかったし、ものすごくネガティブなフィードバックもたくさん来たけど、パッチでどんどん直していって11は完成したんだから、
So this is 11.
大丈夫だと。最初は絶対こうなんだっていう風に
Interesting.
判断したので、ベータを終わらせてリリースへ踏み切ったっていうのが当時のジャッジだったって、僕はチームに入ってからインタビューをしてそれを確認したので、チームの中ではやっぱり議論はあったそうです。あのままじゃダメ、まずいっていう話は。
Good.
ただ最終
Good.
的なジャッジは今お話しした通り、11の時もそうだった。でも
They don't care, dude. They don't care. As long as you're a publicly traded company and there are a board of people that want you to make dineros, they don't give a rat's hoot. They want you to just go forward, make the money. It doesn't matter if it's logical for you to do whatever it takes. You just do it, find a way you fix it. It sucks, man. It sucks. It's not fun.
もう11だってずっとパッチを続けて、ああなったじゃないかと。
Eventually, corporate realized that this wasn't usual launch problems, so they called on a few select members of the team to create a task force. This task force would research what changes the game needed and the resources the development environment would require to do the work. Members of that team would talk to Yoshida-san about their worries after hours. His thoughts were that the current organizational structure would need to be modified if the team was going to make the changes required. In October of 2010, Yoshida-san talked to the then Square Enix president Yoichi Wada and suggested they initiate a company-wide emergency to get the team the resources they needed. Wada-san spent a few days talking to the 14 development team about their concerns, and while a lot of the team had suggested that the current task force was in fact up to the task, some members of the 14 team had pleaded to have Yoshida-san join the project.
Please! My Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Yoshida-san! Please come and save us!
Help. And so it transpired that in late November, corporate took the decision to remove Hiromichi Tanaka from the team and move Nobuaki Komodo from director to lead designer. Both of their vacant positions would be filled by Yoshida-san.
Lord Jesus! Anyway, sorry, I'm stopping.
At that time, he was leading a team that was working on an original IP for Square Enix. He was disappointed to leave that team, but excited for the opportunity to work on one of the company's crown jewels, a numbered Final Fantasy game. So, he got right to work.
Wow, okay, great. Did you guys shift up, aka Nikkei or Stellar Blade devs are looking to go public? That's what I'm afraid of.
Director and producer of FF14 and producer of FF16. He refuses to compromise.
That's sick. Oh, yeah, FF16. Man, this man has brought this company so much money. This dude is a man.
いけないことが当時3つあると思ってて、まあ順番にやってったんですけど、まずそのチームに、まあオリジナルのチームにトップが変わります。で、あとそのタスクフォースメンバーもそのまま開発コアとしてリードに入りますっていう当然話をしなきゃいけない全チームに。ただ僕はドラゴンクエスト側のゲームを開発することが多かったので、そのほとんどのスタッフを知らない。
New staff。
顔と名前ぐらいは知ってるスタッフはいたけど、その一緒に仕事したことがある人がほとんどいなかったので、まず Say hello っていうところから。
Hello。
で、一度もみんな仕事したことがないから。どんな仕事をする人間なのかを見てくれればいいよってまずで、あ、こいつダメだと思ったらチーム抜けて構わないからっていう。
If you're not here to cook, get out of the kitchen. I love that.
話を最初にして一緒に仕事してみよう。でも一回はいいよねって。でそれでダメだと思ったら本当すぐ抜けて構わないから3ヶ月ぐらいまず一緒にやろうよっていう話を僕スピーチでした記憶があります。でまあもう一回チャレンジするよ。まあ当然その時その申請するなんて話はまだ計画がなかったので、とにかく立て直しをやるよと、ギブアップはしないよっていう話をした時に。
Dude, imagine if they just gave up.
僕を知ってる 何人かは
Imagine.
よしやるぞっていう人たちともう無理だよっていう人たちと
Worse. What if they said, instead of Yoshi P, what if they got Nomura on the project? Oh. I don't know about that one, bro.
なんだよこの急な体制変更って言って怒ってる雰囲気の人たちとっていうのが大体のその時の雰囲気でしたね。そんな中で今も14のサウンドディレクターやってる曽健が、その話をしてた時と大きなホールだったんですけど、2階のサウンドブースで僕のマイクの調整とかやってくれて、
曽健 Another legend. Another legend.
があいつだけですよやり直すぞっていうかリベンジするぞって言ったらガッツポーズしてたのはあいつだけです。今でも覚えてますよ。2階席でおっしゃーってやってたんであいつ。
I saw both reactions. I saw the, oh my God, we just went through a year of hell, and now he's asking.
Right on cue.
Us to go through a year and a half of
What's
hell
up, Princess Roko?
To this point that might,
Thank you.
Be another failure, because no one had taken a game and rebuilt it in this manner before. So basically, he's saying like, yeah, you just have to trust me, and yeah, you could,
trust me, bro. Let me cook.
Year and a half of your life, and it could
Let
be
me
a
cook.
failure.
Let
and,
cook.
But
Let
you're gonna
cook.
have to believe me on this one. And so yeah, a lot of people are like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know, and I can understand that because again, it was a gamble.
Let
but
cook.
Then on the other hand, there were, a lot
Believe
of us,
in me. Let's cook.
Myself included, but a lot of people on the team that were like, no,
God, this game looks so much more different, man.
And we did our jobs the best that we could, but for a lot of reasons, some circumstances that were out of our control, decisions made by higher ups, decisions made by other teams that affected our work, and nothing that we could do about it. But we had put our all into it, and we were invested in the project. We still believed in the project. To have someone from the outside come in, and not just come in to say, okay, forget it, we're just going to do it my way or the highway. He's like, he asked our opinions. He laid out a roadmap. He gave us a vision and a hope. And even though it seemed like it would be difficult to achieve, it didn't seem inconceivable.
Yoshi P knew there was no time.
It's funny that he said inconceivable. He kind of looks like the inconceivable guy. You guys seen Princess Bride? I like Koji Fox. He's cool.
Time to wait. He worked with corporate to make sure the team had time off, both for them to relax, but also to give him time to build his new vision, to do research playing other MMOs, and to help draft his plan, to deliver the vision and how the team was going to do it. They had very little time to fix this game, so once they started, the specifications document would have to be watertight, and as captain of the ship, he needed to be able to answer every question the team may have. Quickly.
Yoshida-san was now at the helm of his first Final Fantasy.
Yoshida-san?
As an MMO fan, he was looking forward to getting in there and fixing it. What he couldn't have known at this stage was the scale of the job ahead of him, that no matter how much they patched Final Fantasy XIV Online, they couldn't ever fix it. What they'd have to do was something that no developer had ever done, to rebuild an entire MMO while the original version was still running.
Wow.
I don't think that they realized immediately that it was something that couldn't be solved via patches. I think they still believe that, if we patch it, it'll be fine.
Ugh, no, dude. You cannot fix a leak with Band-Aids. It's just not. You got to fix the whole damn thing.
And it wasn't until they reevaluated and then brought in, the new blood. Yoshida-san came in and told them, okay, yeah, this is not something that can be patched. If we want to fix
it's unsavable.
We're going to have to take a drastic step.
Yoshida spent 7 weeks researching and returned with 2 options for corporate. It was then he realized that it would be impossible to convert the current game into an MMO that could last the test of time. Ultimately though, this was a decision that corporate had to make. So he returned with not 1, but 2 plans. Plan A and Plan B. During this meeting...
Oh my God, dude, this guy's a genius. That's exactly what you do. You give people options. You can't give people ultimatums. You give people options, you're more than likely to get your way. This man's a genius. That's business 101.
meeting, he explained that plan A would be to patch the game
Five
and make
head.
it more playable, but that ultimately the game would never really satisfy players. And though Square Enix may make their money back, the damage to the online brand would be catastrophic.
Oh yeah.
And then
Oh
there
yeah.
was plan B.
今のファイナルファンタジー
Oh, I love that. Dude. He didn't give him an option. Dude, it was an ultimatum disguised as an option. He's even more giga brain than I thought. He just went from 5 head to galaxy head. He literally said, listen, plan A, let go of it. Everything crashes and burns. They make their money back. Their online reputation would be absolutely in shambles. Or we remake the whole thing. I love that. Disguise the ultimatum as an option. I love that. Galaxy brain.
当時のオリジナルの
Tells us straight up. Tell us straight up how it is.
パッチを当てて
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
そのできる限りポジティブに遊べるものにしながら裏で
But Yoshi, we can't. Yoshi, I say burn it. Burn it to the ground.
全く新しいそのファイナルファンタジー14を
Completely brand new FF14. I love it. I love it.
でまあその話だけを聞くと、まあ、そんなバカなってなるので当然どうやってそれを達成するかチームを2つに分けてでどういったそのマネジメントスタイルでそれをやるのかで大体
Oh
発
yeah.
売時期はプレイステーション3版をリリースするっていうのがプレイヤーとの約束だったのでプレイステーション3の前にリリースしなきゃいけないので2012年年末から2013年中には絶対リリースできるこの計画であればっていうプレゼンテーションをしてリスクは高いただ当然そんなことをしたことはないしゲーム業界でしかも同じタイトルで作り直してるから成功うまくいったとしても成功するかどうかはわからないただ少なくともやっぱりファイナルファンタジーってクレイジーだねとかすごいことするねとか少なくとも自分たちがミスしたことを認めて信頼を取り戻そうとしたっていう努力は見てくれてる人は多分見てくれるだろうだからどっちをチョイスするかは会社に任せるただどっちであっても全力でやるよっていう話をプレゼンテーションして、まあ、結果的にはねプラン B でって言ってくれたんで
They chose to burn the servers. Burn the game. Burn it with fire. Don't look back. Just light the match, throw it behind you, walk away.
Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 was in a state of disarray.
That symbol on your main scenario quest. The O in Reborn? That's Project Meteor, the Moon Dalamud. The logo of FF14 is a burning descending meteor of rebirth by cleansing fire.
What in the world happened to Charlie there? The Oa and Reborn. That's Project Meteor, the Moon Dalamud, the logo FF14's burning, descending meteor. That's so cool, man.
Had decided to suspend subscriptions to help ease the negativity around the game, while the PS...
Oh, that's nice. Hold on. I need to see this.
Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 was in a state of disarray. Square Enix had decided to suspend subscriptions to help ease the negativity around the game, while the PS3 version was indefinitely postponed. For the next 2 years, Yoshida-san and his team would work tirelessly on not one, but 2 MMOs, matching the original 1.0 to fans' expectations, while secretly working on a brand new version of Final Fantasy XIV.
Wow.
In our next episode, we focus on that 2-year period and tell the incredible story of the falling moon of Dalamud.
There's the wall.
The death of 1.0 and the birth of a new Eorzea.
Wow, that's really cool, man. That's freaking awesome, dude. There's the other one. So that was part 1. Actually, I'm curious now. Does this person have a lot more documentaries? Monkey Island. This is really interesting. Burger King video games.
Okay, let's try this again. The Owen Reboen. The Owen Reboen. Test test.